All right, Trickers and Trickers, it's time for the final episode of the episode review of the day, which is For the Cause. Cassidy Ace wakes up in Captain Cisco's bed, kisses him on the forehead, and gets up to leave to go to her ship, the SS Zosha. Cisco reaches in and pulls her back into bed, telling her that a meeting with her engineer can wait. Cassidy finally leaves after joking about his style of command and tells him that she will see him later. He pulls her now vacant pillow over, admires the lingering scent, and switches it with his own. Okay then. In the wardroom, Commander Eddington is giving Cisco, Major Kira, Commander Worf, Commander Jadzia Dax, and Odo a briefing on very sensitive information from Starfleet Command. The Cardassian civil government has secretly contacted the Federation Council with requests for industrial replicators to help build new power plants and factories. The Federation has agreed to provide 12 classified industrial replicators. However, the information must be kept secret because Starfleet intelligence believes the Maquis may attempt to seize the replicators for themselves. Since the Klingon invasion, the Cardassian military has been unable to pay much attention to the Maquis, giving them almost free rein in the demilitarized zone and allowing them to build several new bases which has the possibility of dropping out all Cardassian presence. Cisco orders increased security on the station until the replicators have safely passed through Deep Space Nine, and has Worf take the USS Defiant to the Badlands in order to show the Maquis they're ready for any trouble. As the other officers leave the briefing, Odo and Eddington stay behind to talk to Cisco. They tell him that they have reason to believe there is a Maquis smuggler on the station, although the evidence is circumstantial at the moment. Cisco presses them for a name, and the two reluctantly admit the suspect is none other than Cassidy Yates. Dun dun dun. Cisco is said to hear the security officer's suspicions and demands evidence, as smuggling with intent to apply a terrorist organization is a very serious charge. They tell him that Yates has been suspiciously late in normal cargo runs, and that Starfleet intelligence believes that a Maquis contact had begun living on the station at about the same time that she did. Cisco believes the evidence is very slim, and tells them to look far away to discreetly search her ship. Dr. Bashir and Garrick are sitting in a crowd of spectators watching a spring ball game when Bashir notices that Garrick seems to be more interested in watching Ziyal, who is also in the crowd and trading glances with him, than the game, which is being won by Kira. He warns Garrick that he should leave Ziyal alone considering how much Kira and Dukat hate him, but Garrick doesn't seem interested in the doctor's advice. In his quarters, Cisco's cooking a meal, Bajor and Ratampa stew over spinach linguine when the door chimes. Cassidius enters, followed soon after by Jake. Master neither of them knows what a Carvarian tiger bat smells like. His writing string wants to make it as realistic as possible. Captain Cisco used the situation to ask Cassidy about her cargo route, which is in the general vicinity of Cavaria, which drops the subject when she becomes curious about his interest in her flight plans. Ziyal and Garrick find themselves alone in a turbo lift. Garrick breaks their awkward silence with a joke, and after a brief exchange, they part on amicable terms. Odo and pair of deputies are talking to Bratha, a bullying crew member of Cassidy's ship, as she walks up. Odo informs her that they need to conduct a Class 2 inspection of her cargo before she can leave the station due to a report outbreak of Temiclian virus on Bajor. Cassidy contacts Cisco and tells him that if they wait the 6 hours needed for the inspection, they'll miss their rendezvous with a Tholian freighter. She promises to flood her whole cargo hold with Baron radiation as a precaution, but insists that she needs to leave immediately. Cisco temporarily closes the channel and consults with Eddington privately. He tells them they can't reduce the time to check for anything that shouldn't be there while making it look like a health check. Cisco says that, if Cassidy is in a hurry, security won't be able to do much of a search if she's looking over her shoulders, and agrees to let her go. Afterwards, assigns Worf to take the Defiant and follow her under cloak with orders to observe, only then report back. Aboard the Defiant, Chief O'Brien informs Worf that Yates' ship, the Zosha, has changed course and is heading toward the Badlands. Worf tells him to stay. Worf tells him to stay with it. During this, the two discuss their feelings on the Maquis and find that they have very different opinions. O'Brien believes them to just be people defending their homes, while Worf considers them criminals who deserve to be hunted down. O'Brien then asks Eddington his opinion, but the security officer says he doesn't have one. He's there to serve and nothing more. Sensors soon detect the impulse signature of a Maquis raider, and then Zosha booms over its cargo, proving without a doubt that Cassidy is smuggling supply to the Maquis. smuggling supplies to the Maquis. I'll get back here. There we go. Okay. Garrick is working in the shop as Zale enters. She compliments him on his shop and abilities as a tailor. She eventually invites him to try a new holosuite program of Cardassian sauna that she received from Quark. He accepts and they settle on a time. Jake enters the room in their quarters to find his father sitting at the table. He gets breakfast from the replicator and sits down, explaining that he's having a Raktajinko and Makaba bread with no crust recommended to him by Cassidy. Captain Sisko says he didn't get much sleep the night before and that he's in a bad mood because he has a lot on his mind. When Jake lightly begins to tease his father, Sisko snaps that he doesn't want to talk about it. Jake realizes something is wrong, but Sisko doesn't want to talk about it at the moment, but takes a chance to remind his son that the bond between them is permanent no matter what might happen in the future. In the boardroom, Eddington goes over their surveillance of the Zosha. They determined that the cargo was mostly organic, probably food or medical supplies. And Dax points out that at least not weapons, but that doesn't make Sisko feel any better. Warp tells Sisko that Zosha will soon return, and Sisko dismisses the briefing. After the senior staff leave, Dax lingers for a moment, intending to speak further with Sisko. The captain, without turning to her, remarks, "Dismissed, old man." Sisko is back in his quarters when Cassidy comes in smiling, and he tries to put on a good face, not letting on about what he knows. She thanks him for letting her bend the rules, and he tries again to casually ask her about her route, but is interrupted when Jake comes in and invites him to go to watch a baseball game holosuite program that Naga sent him. Sisko declines, saying he has to get back to ops, and Cassidy protests, telling him she has to leave in a few hours for another run, but also stating that her ship is ready for an inspection. He goes anyway and meets with Odo and Eddington in his office, telling him that Cassidy will be leaving to make another run later that night, and as she's prepared for inspection, they probably won't find anything before she leaves. They agree to have the Defiant follow the Zosha again, and Odo and Eddington point out that as the Zosha might not make another run for months, should they observe another meeting, both vessels should be seized and the crews arrested. Sisko agrees. Eddington asks to speak to the captain alone. After Odo leaves, Eddington tells Sisko he would rather not be aboard the Defiant for this mission because he cannot guarantee the safety of Yates if there was a confrontation between the two ships. Would instead like to stay aboard the station and oversee security for the shipment of replicators which are due to arrive the next day. Sisko agrees and takes command of the Defiant himself. Sisko catches Cassidy at the airlock of her ship and invites her to leave with him for a spontaneous vacation to Risa there and then, not even stopping to pack a bag. She just offers Tony, but that she can't go with him and boards her ship to leave. She offers to meet him on Risa after she's made the delivery, but Sisko dismisses it as a crazy idea he had. Aboard the Defiant, the crew follows Zosha to the same coordinates as their last meeting with the Maquis. This time there is no Maquis ship to meet them. Sisko decides to sit and wait. Quark is in Garrick's shop, getting fitted for a new suit when Kira comes in and pins Garrick against the wall. Tell him that if he hurts Ziyal in any way, she will make him regret it. Kira leaves. Quark asks if he's still going to meet Ziyal in the holosuite. Garrick says he has been afraid that Ziyal was just trying to lure him there to kill him, but now he's sure he will be safe because the Major certainly wouldn't have told him not to go if it was dangerous for him to do so. Quark points out that it might have been all part of the plan to get him there, and Garrick is left unsure once again. Back aboard the Defiant, the crew is becoming suspicious after having waited for 5 hours, absolutely no sign of a Maquis ship. Odo points out that terrorists don't believe in this manner. If the contact ship doesn't show up for a rendezvous, then you leave rather than wait around. Or it's just that the cargo may be so valuable that Zosha will wait around however long it takes. Odo then realizes the Maquis may already have what they wanted and suggests that maybe they will lure into the balance to get the Defiant, and namely Sisko, away from the station, knowing that if it was anyone but Cassidy involved, he wouldn't have commanded the mission himself. Decided to get a beam over the Zosha to find out what's going on. Cassidy tries playing dumb, but Sisko tells her he already knows she's been smuggling supplies to the Maquis and demands to know they're planning to attack the station. Cassidy tells him that all she knows is that the Maquis told her the medical supplies she was meant to deliver were urgent and that she had to be at the rendezvous no matter what. Even when she tried to He went straight to refuse, having already made a lot of runs in a short space of time. Sisko says that the entire operation was designed to get him off Deep Space Nine and that the Maquis are going after the replicators. In the wardroom on the station, Eddington is briefing a group of security officers about loading the replicators onto a Vulcan freighter. He tells them that they are not to discuss it even with a Bajoran security detachment, and the station is to observe radio silence. As he dismisses the security officers, he enters the room and asks why Eddington wanted to see her. Eddington takes his phaser, tells her he needs to take command of the station for a few hours, and immediately shoots her. He walks out of the room and locks the door. The Defiant streaks back to the station at maximum warp, leaving Ace and Zosha behind as Odo points out that they'll probably never see them again. Meanwhile, back on Deep Space Nine, Eddington leaves the station under the command of Junior Officer Lieutenant Reese and departs aboard the Vulcan freighter. The crew arrives back in Ops, arrive for several starships looking for the freighter, but is convinced that they will not find it, saying so Eddington seemed to have prepared for every contingency. They receive an incoming message from Eddington, and Sisko takes it in his office. Eddington tells Sisko to leave him and the Maquis alone, saying that if they do, they'll never hear from them again. Sisko tells him he'll find him no matter what, no matter how long it takes, and see to it that he ends up in a penal colony, regretting what he's done. Garak enters the hall suite to find Zao lying on a slab of rock under a heat lamp. He approaches cautiously and asks why she really asked him to come. She tells him that they are both outcasts and that she had hoped they could find a bond in their mutual exile, despite his history with her family. With their motive cleared up, Garak says he'll be instructed brought along and insists decide to lay on the rock and enjoy the heat with her. With Eddington's betrayal looming in his recent past, Sisko must now deal with Yates, who has returned to the station aboard the Zosha. She exits the airlock alone and tells him she did not see the point of bringing her crew back just to face a prison sentence and drop them off at a Maquis colony. Sisko tells her that he still has to uphold his duty. She tells him she understands, but didn't want to throw away their relationship, even if it meant turning herself in. They embrace, and Sisko calls for security to take her away. She assures him she'll be back someday. Sisko tells her he will still be at the station when she returns. Oh, poor Sisko. Alright, so anyway, let's take a look at some continuity surrounding this episode. The opening scene, part of Sisko's pillow talk with Yates, includes his description of himself as a Starfleet captain as a paragon of virtue. The same phrase, also used to describe a Starfleet captain, was used in the Star Trek The Original Series in Mudd's Women. This episode takes place 18 months after The Search Part 1 and 5 months after Indiscretion. Ziyao mentions, although not by name, her grandfather, Gul Dukat's father, was previously mentioned in the third season episode Civil Defense, where it's implied that he and Garak knew one another. Among the clothes seen in Garak's tailor shop is costume worn by Martis Mazur in Rivals. Eddington stunned Karen surreptitiously usurped command of the station, but before escaping with the CFI replicators, and tell his subordinate, Lieutenant Reese, why the younger man was being left in command instead of superior officers Kira and Dax. Reese believed Eddington was in command and had authority to name a successor, even a junior officer. There was present Starfleet regulations for an active commander to give the con to a junior officer. In the original series, The Menagerie Part 1, Lieutenant Commander Spock bypassed Lieutenant Commander Montgomery Scott, who was down on the bridge, and left command of the USS Enterprise to Lieutenant Hansen, the helmsman, before Captain Kirk returned to the ship. Coincidentally, in each case, both Eddington and Spock were unlawful acting commanders. So overall, yeah, this episode has some very tense moments, and it's kind of sad that Cassidy has to be arrested for what she did, but hey, we will see her again, so there's that. So overall, I give, for the cause, 3 warp cores out of 5. When I tune in more as we take the next episode, To the Death. So, until then, live long and prosper, everybody.